I wanted to come back to some fundamentals with your web TV show. As with many other projects, sometimes it's difficult to get things off the ground. So let's look at some fundamentals so that you can look back in 12 months from now and say, yes, I've achieved a lot. I think the first thing to consider is many people have good intentions and often they have good ideas too, but more often than not there's a lack of focus. There's no shortage of things that can distract us these days. And really, one of the key skills to be able to get a project across the line is to learn how to focus better. So in other words, be very clear about what it is that you want to do, what you're passionate about, where you want to be in 2 months, 3 months, or a year from now. Another version of lack of focus is very often having too many projects on the go. And I can certainly say I'm guilty of this, to the point where it's possible to have 2, 3, 4, sometimes 10, 15. When you sit down with a sheet of paper, you discover you actually got 20 projects on the go, which is, it's not possible to do that. The other thing I learned once, which I thought I should have known, but had completely overlooked, was it makes more sense to actually complete one project and get some results from that project than it does to have many projects partly completed with a view to one day being able to complete all of them at once. Or let me give you an example of that. What if I had a project that could generate $100 a month and I decided to finish that completely in 3 months? At the end of 3 months, I'm starting to earn my $100, and by the end of the year, I've earned 9 months times 100, which is $900. Compare that to the alternative, where you have, say, 3 or 4 projects on the go simultaneously, and rather than achieving any of them, say in that 3-month period, it takes you 9 months to complete. Let's say you have 3. It takes you 9 months to complete the 3-month projects. So now you get to the 9th month and you're earning $100 per month from each of those 3 projects, and you have 3 months left. So how much do you actually earn that year? Well, from one project you earn $300, from the other one you earn $300, and from the last one you earn $300. So you still earn your $900, but you've had nothing for 9 months of that year. Hence, it is quite logical and rational to focus on one thing at a time, because in practice you'll actually do a better job of it anyway and more likely receive better results than it is to try and do the 3 things in parallel. The other thing I've missed from this example, of course, is that the first project will start to earn more than $100 a month. So in fact, in the second month it might be $110, in the third month $120, and so on. So in fact, doing one project at a time will always result in better outcomes. Of course, the other thing I didn't mention is that when you complete your second project, and you're now at the 6th month point, you start to earn $100 a month from that one as well. So in fact, you get 6 months worth of $100, which is $600 from that project, plus the 9 months worth of $100 from the other project. So you can see that you're actually miles further ahead by completing one project at a time than you are by running the 3 projects in parallel. Lack of priorities. Again, this is like having too many projects, but it's a little worse than that as well. Even if you don't have too many projects and you have one, but you're not sure what the most important components of that project are, you can start shooting off in all sorts of directions. It's like building a house and not realizing that you need a foundation first and not understanding what comes second and so forth. Poor time management. The only thing that is in scarce supply is time. Money is out there to be made. It can be difficult to get, but it's out there to be made, and there's no shortage of it. But we all have limited time, and yet few of us have systems for managing our time. Few of us have rules that say, okay, I'm not going to do this because I know it's wasting my time, or I will do this because I know I get a good return from it. For example, we may know that tinkering with our iPhone is wasting time, is poor time management, but we've never actually established the rule that says, I'm not going to tinker anymore, or I'm going to limit my tinkering. Lack of systems. How many things do we do every day or every week, but we have no particular way of doing it? So we make up our method every time we do the process. This can cause us to take much longer to achieve the same outcome. For example, paying bills even. Do you pay one bill every day, or do you batch them, and when you've got your payment system open on your desk or wherever, pay all of them at once so it's much faster? There are many examples of simple systems, but at the end of the day, a system will not only make life easier, it will also save you time and invariably produce a better outcome. You certainly need systems with your projects. How are you going to do the things that need to be done in your web TV show? And this may be as simple as saying, every day I'm going to record content, 1 6, 7, 8 minute piece of content, and I'm going to do that between 7 o'clock and 9 o'clock instead of watching TV. It could be that simple, but that's your system. Becoming overwhelmed. This is something that all of us experience, and most of it's to do with being overwhelmed by information and being overwhelmed by the size of a project when we start to think about all the things that we could be doing. The fact is, you don't have to be doing all the things that you could be doing, and every project's potentially very big, but every project's composed of little steps, and success is composed of little steps as well. It's like that 3-month project I mentioned a moment ago. If you can break down your task into manageable components and have endpoints for each of them, then you won't become overwhelmed. The other thing is information overload, which we talk about a lot. The best way to deal with that is just get rid of the information. Many things that we've been doing for a long time that we thought were acceptable and normal are no longer rational. For example, how many of us really have time to wade through our junk mail? Or do we just put it straight into the bin and realize that it's just going to cause us to become more overwhelmed? There are the equivalents of this obviously online, and we know that one of the biggest issues is email. How can I cut back my email? It's okay to subscribe to things, but once they've served a purpose, either unsubscribe or write rules that get rid of it. Even having it in front of your face can cause you to be overwhelmed, so you don't even want to see it some of the time. I learned very early on about the power of having a clean desk. In other words, not even looking at stuff that I know needs to be done, because the psychological impact of seeing piles of things in front of you causes you to feel overwhelmed. So any technique that you can use to take back control of your environment and feel that it's your environment and you're not being pushed around is worth doing. Everybody has a lack of technical skills, except for the people who are terribly technical and then they sit around not really achieving anything, but just pumping through all sorts of program writing and endless hours of analysis and calculation and so forth, and nor do they want to do anything else. So if we are a little bit entrepreneurial, or if we want to have some commercial outputs, it's okay to have a lack of technical skills. And in fact, there's never been a better time to have a lack of technical skills, because there are many ways to find people who can help us or to accommodate our weaknesses in this area. So we'll come back to that in a moment. Do you ever feel that you need to be able to do everything yourself? I know I suffer from this, partly because I just enjoy learning new things, partly because of the excitement and challenge that comes from learning something and doing it and then sitting back and saying, yes, I did that. The only problem with that is that needing to know everything and be able to do everything slows you down, and means that you spend most of your time building the framework behind projects but never actually launching them. So give yourself a break. You don't have to know everything, you don't have to do everything.